What's going on, y'all? We are out here today fishing off of the Hobie Pro Angler, and I have an awesome episode planned for y'all. We are taking the worms right here, and we are gonna try to catch some saltwater fish on these worms. I have used worms to catch sheep's head before. The sheep's head are now gone, so we're gonna see, do the mangrove snappers, redfish, do other saltwater fish eat these worms? Like I said, we're not targeting sheep's head. The sheep's head have moved out, they're gone. We're gonna try for other saltwater fish. Y'all stay tuned. Let's see if we can get some fish to eat the worms. Chose a spot today that's an industrial area, a ton of structure, and I strategically picked a spot like this because these areas have all sorts of fish. They got mangrove snapper, red drum, speckled trout, flounder, all sorts of saltwater fish are in these areas. Got a lot of deep water, so I want to see what kind of fish I can catch on these worms. But yeah, we're going to be targeting all sorts of structure, and that's pretty much the deal. But to kick it off, I got some live shrimp behind me right here, and all I want to do is make sure I have fish in the area before I swap over to the worms. So probably catch 2 or 3 fish on the shrimp. After we do that, we'll swap over to the worms and see if we're getting any bites. All right, we're easing into our first spot here. I'm gonna talk about the setup that we're using a little bit later on. Let's drop down here and see if we can find some fish. Like I said, we're gonna go down with some live shrimp first, see if we can locate some fish. I don't wanna be dumping worms, something that I'm not sure is gonna work. I don't wanna drop worms down and just be sitting there in an area that, you know, there's no fish, because that would leave me wondering, you know, are the fish just not eating the worms, or are there just no fish here? He's on. Fish on. There we go. That is our first fish, and it is a mangrove snapper. First fish on the live shrimp. And these guys are all over the place in here. They're really, really good to eat. This is a small one. Here in Alabama, they got to be 12 inches to keep, and you get to keep 10 of those guys. That is a little one, but it is our first fish. I started off fishing around all this structure in here and really did not get any bites, which was really surprising to me. So I moved into some shallower water, about 6 foot right here, dropping around these stanchions, and finally picked up our first bite. So let's catch a couple more fish on the shrimp, make sure there's some good fish holding down there, and we'll see if we can use the worms to catch something. Live shrimp number 2 going down. Now, if it looks a little weird or a little funny when I'm fighting these fish, is because I am nursing a serious injury on my right arm. So I'm having to kind of relearn how to fish, I guess, left-handed. So you see me fighting these fish a little weird, it's because I am using my non-dominant arm that I'm not used to fishing with to try to catch these fish. Got one biting it. Come on, come on. Swimming away with it. Got him. Another mangrove. Little guys. It would be cool to catch one of these a little bit bigger, because these guys taste amazing. Probably one of the better tasting inshore fish we have around here. They have some gnarly chompers on them too. I mean, they got some really, really nasty teeth. You get your hand caught in the mouth of one of them guys, it's gonna be a bad day. All right, let's see if we can catch a third fish off this tire stanchion right here. He's swimming with it. He's going that way. Oh man, that was a slam. Got a smaller shrimp right there, so that guy should be a little bit easier for them to get in their mouth, maybe not pull my shrimp off. He's on. He's on. Another little mangrove. Well, we are on some small mangroves, but we know that the mangroves are on these tires right here. I feel like if we kept using the shrimp, we probably work around, might could find some bigger ones. But that is our third fish right there. As soon as I can get that hook out of his mouth. All right, we're gonna swap over to the worms now, drop down, see if these mangroves will eat a worm. All right, getting ready to make the swap over to the worms right now, but check it out. If y'all like me doing these comparison videos or coming out and just using different baits to try to catch these fish, maybe baits you've never tried before, get this video to 900 likes. If this video hits 900 likes, I will come out here and continue to use baits that are pretty unconventional in the saltwater world. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and stop yapping. I'm gonna drop a worm down, see what happens. All right, so we're gonna use the same exact setup that we were just using, and we do have 20-pound Suffix 832 braid right here. We got that ran to 20-pound fluorocarbon leader. I do have two number 3 split shot weights to make sure I get down on that piling, and then I'm just running a number 1 Gamakatsu octopus hook right there. But that's the setup. That's what I was using with the shrimp. I'm gonna be using the same exact setup using the worms to drop down there. Just gonna thread that guy on the hook. Y'all comment below before I catch a fish. Y'all comment, do you think this is gonna work? Yes or no? All right, first drop going down with the worm. Oh no, we're getting bit already. What is that? Oh. Left me with a little piece of worm, huh? All right, well, we got bit. That did not feel like mangroves though. It did feel like pinfish. Let's go back down with another worm. That's not a pinfish. Oh, it is a pinfish. All right, well, there's a saltwater fish on a worm. Definitely not what we are trying to catch, for sure. Now, if we were looking to get some bait, that wouldn't be bad bait right there. All right, we didn't catch or even feel like we hooked any pinfish on the live shrimp. It was nothing but mangrove snapper. I've lost several worms dropping around this pile, and it definitely feels like nothing but pinfish. I feel like I did lose a mangrove snapper a minute ago. Maybe, not real sure, but yeah, it's definitely getting bit. Let's move on down to the next one, see if we can get away from the pinfish. All right, we have tried a ton of different areas around here. The bites kind of died off. Got this seawall right here. We're gonna throw around it, see if there's some fish hanging out here. The wind also picked up a little bit, so got a decent amount of protection right here. Oh, we got something on. It ate the worm. That's a decent fish. Come here. What do we got? A bigger mangrove. All right. Wow. Made a couple of moves and found a mangrove that is almost keeping size. That one would be a keeper. We're gonna pop in on board. But that is the first fish that we have landed on a worm that is not, I guess, a trash fish. We caught some pinfish on them and had to make a move to get away from the pinfish. Hit a couple of areas back there, come along this seawall, and seawalls just have a ton of bait, barnacles, and stuff like that on them. And boom, not gonna lie, it has been a good little while since I have caught a fish. I am pumped up about this. Gotta be 12 inches to keep. That guy, I don't think is gonna make it. Well, we'll never know. He jumped off the board. All right, well, let's rig up another worm here. See if we can catch us a bigger mangrove or a redfish, speckled trout, flounder, whatever's down there. I'll take it. I will say the only downfall of these worms is that they are very, very messy. But when you're talking about shrimp, you're paying anywhere from $4 to $6 a dozen for shrimp, and right here I'm getting a couple dozen worms for around $3. So, you know, if you're comparing prices or whatever, or you're on a tight budget, try some worms. I'm telling you. And the thing about it is that these worms, right, let me put it like this, like these fish, they eat food, okay? If there's food down there and they're hungry and it's in front of them, they're gonna eat it. And you got these worms that are oozing guts and stuff out of them, and it's putting off a lot of scent down there in that water. And so those fish see that worm and it's just sitting there suspended up off the water. Even if it's something they've never seen before, it has a scent to it. They're attracted to the scent and they're gonna taste it. And once they bite it and taste it, they're gonna realize that, man, that kind of tastes good, and they're gonna go in for another bite, and then that's when you're gonna hook them. But you know, just because these are used in freshwater to catch brim, catfish, sometimes bass and stuff like that, doesn't mean that you can't use them in saltwater to catch fish also. Oh, we got one. We got one. That might be a decent fish. Oh, oh now. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, it's a sheep's head. All right. I thought all the sheep's head moved out by now. Well, this guy's no stranger to the worms. We have caught these guys on worms before. Man, he's a little guy. But yeah, I mean, we're sitting here into April right now. Most of the sheep's head have moved out to the rigs. People are still catching them out there, but as far as finding them inshore, they're few and far between. Try to get that hook out of you, buddy. Beautiful fish right there. One of my favorite fish to catch, sheep's head. This guy obviously a little bit on the small side and might be a little undersized if we're keeping. I believe he might be a little on the smaller side, but yeah, go ahead and let this guy go. It's another one for the worms. We have catching sheep's head on worms is kind of what started this whole thing with me wanting to find out what else is out there that will eat these guys. So we kind of already knew sheep's head would eat worms. They eat all this stuff around these pilings, all these barnacles, these sea roaches, pretty much anything that's around pilings that's suspended. They're gonna give it a good taste. Hopefully we can get in here and find some bigger fish though. I'm really wanting to catch a redfish or something like that. There's black drum also hanging around this stuff. I know I'm on this seawall right here, and it might not look like it's that deep, but it's about 20 feet down to the bottom right here. So never really know what you're gonna catch out here fishing on this stuff. We're gonna drop another worm down, see what happens. Well, y'all, we are trying to get to 40,000 subscribers this year. I do need all of y'all's help to be able to make that happen. So if y'all would, please head over there, hit the subscribe button. I got a bunch of awesome content getting ready to roll out. Flounder are everywhere. We got a bunch of redfish videos getting ready to drop. If you like inshore saltwater fishing and maybe even a little bit of freshwater, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, because we are putting out content all the time. One of the downfalls to fishing with the worms though is that you can't really tell when the fish take your bait. You get bit a couple of times, and you know, like with a shrimp on there or something like that, you can feel the extra weight. You really can't tell with the worms on there. All right, well, it was a really slow day out here all the way around, but here's a couple of takeaways, right? I kind of expected the worm to catch pinfish, like pinfish, croaker, catfish. Yeah, we could already suggest the worms are going to catch all of those things. We've already caught sheep's head on the worms, but we can add a new species to that, mangrove snapper. We did get that one mangrove snapper to eat the worm, which was pretty cool seeing that. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just gonna further test this. I'm definitely gonna go to some different spots, some more productive spots that are holding a lot bigger fish, redfish, big flounder, things like that. And I'm really gonna put the worms to the test over the next couple of weeks, couple of months. I just want to see what these worms can produce. Under no circumstances though am I thinking or suggesting that worms would be better than shrimp and some of the tried and true traditional saltwater baits, but sometimes shrimp is very, very hard to find. We've had a lot of high winds, rain, things like that. Bait sometimes just sells out quickly, and worms are always readily available. So that's kind of the cool thing to me about worms, is that they are extremely inexpensive and very easy to find. And yeah, I mean, if the fish will eat them and that's the bait that's available, you know, having the confidence and just knowing that it will catch fish, I don't know, just kind of cool. I'm looking forward to testing the worms in a lot of different other areas. So anyways, hope y'all enjoyed the video. If y'all did, hit the like button, comment with any questions, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see y'all next time.